Good afternoon. Bach in Leipzig, 1725. We celebrated this centenary 300 years ago in May in the Sheldonian when performing the Bach cantata that has recently landed in the Bodleian Library. The text is by Christiana Mariana von Ziegler, and she was just one of the two strong women with whom Bach cooperated in this year. The other one was Anna Magdalena Bach, his wife. He had married her 4 years ago, and for her this volume was put together, the so-called Notenbüchlein der Anna Magdalena Bach, and you see her initials AMB and the date embossed here. I'll pass it around just to give you a feel. It's not quite as scrappy as my facsimile, which was done with paste and scissors yesterday in the faculty office, but it's very much a work in progress booklet. It's originally longer. I've just copied a few of the pages that we are going to hear later. And what I want to explain a little bit is the intellectual background in which this collaboration with the two women happened in Leipzig. So Anna Magdalena Bach had been a successful professional singer. She earned 300 thalers a year, just below that what Bach himself was earning at the court of Curated, which was 400 thalers, and had received a sound musical education. Her father was the court trumpeter, and so she supported herself also by copying music, by taking commissions, by selling musical manuscript. And Christiana Mariana von Ziegler was the daughter of a successful Leipzig lawyer and had also received a really sound musical education, was herself a flautist. And she is a marvelous source of information because of, apart from writing the librettos for Bach, she was also a copious and very skilled letter writer. So we get all the gossip of that time, and we get the insight and performance practice of that period, which otherwise we wouldn't have. And so they met, the Bachs and the Zieglers, either at the coffee house. You might know the Café Cantata by Bach, so the Zimmermannsche Café House was a popular meeting place, or in this very representative large house which Christiana Mariana von Ziegler had inherited from her family, where she was meeting the poets of the time, the intellectuals of the time. And Leipzig, it was an exciting period for the city because it had just grown from 24,000 inhabitants beginning of the 18th century to tracking the 30,000 mark in 1725. It had an internationally renowned university. It had 3 main churches. It had learned societies. And it had the largest German book fair in the German-speaking world, and the most publishing houses. So Christiana Mariana von Ziegler published her own poetry with that, but also the university published academic treatises. And I simply looked through Solo, the university catalogue here, to see what of the Leipzig 1720s production is here, and I found that in St. John's College there is a really funny little treatise. I don't know whether Alexandra has seen it because it's working on a medical theme. These are 20 medical satires discussing all forms of ailments and how to combat them. And the strongest danger to health is what? Studying too hard. So this, and it reads, it's framed as an oratio de noxa studiorum. And it starts with something that could be the essay title for one of our tutorials. So discuss the harmful effect of studies, and then it lists all the, they are numerous. It starts, the whole essay starts, quam velem nescire litteras, how I wish I had never learned any letters. And then it says, contorted neck, constipation, arthritis, all the way to melancholia and madness. But another treatise in this booklet says there is a cure for all of it, and that is music. Music has more miraculous healing properties than you ever could be thrown at by academia. Music is praised as ingenii acuti levamentum, a relief for sharp mind or comfort for a keen intellect. It soothes toothaches, lifts the dark moods of melancholia, and cures colic cramps caused by gallstones. The treatise then goes on to quote a recommendation by a practitioner who said to put patients on soft cushions and lull them in with sweet tunes and melodies, mit lieblichen Gesängen und Melodien einsausen, and gently tickling and caressing their hands and feet to make them relax, mit Jucken und Krauen an Händen und Füßen zum Schlafen und Ruhe bringen solle. The same state of a mix of satire and learning can be seen in the letters and treatises by Christiana Mariana von Ziegler, who later became the first female poet laureate in Germany. She housed the leading Enlightenment poet of the time, Johann Christoph Gottsched, and as I said, corresponded with tout le monde in French, Latin, and German. And I'll just quote one passage from a letter she wrote to a male friend who had sent her some compositions, new overtures to copy out. And she had this letter published in Leipzig by the widow of one of the publishers. So another way for successful businesswomen was to run publishing ventures. And so in this published letter she writes, the enclosed overture, which is coupled by a fugue that provides a constant and faithful companion for nearly all of the voices, is very beautiful. Its artfulness is a praise to its master, as are the due concertos. However, I would have preferred it if they were set more tenderly and smoothly. So the adjectives used are zärtlicher and schmeichelhafter. Schmeichelhafter is something like silk on skin or a very smooth taste that you are having, so this schmeichelhaft. It flows effortlessly and not so seriously. It seems to me that playing adagio requires a greater artist than allegro, as the former appears far more lovely and enchanting, lieblicher und entzückender to me. I know many who show great skill in their playing and are therefore considered virtuosos by some. But when you ask about grace and manners, Anmut und Manieren, you must look for them in the pauses. So not in the music you hear, but have to wait for the relief of the break. Most of the art probably consists more in delicacy than in speed. So in German that is a parallel between Zierlichkeit versus Geschwindigkeit. Hence those who only look at and listen to the cascading notes, she uses springende Noten. If anybody has more of an idea what springende Noten means, whether it's the run of the notes or more the skipping rhythm, I'd be grateful for enlightenment. But so listen to the cascading notes, often make more out of a fleeting minuet or polonaise than out of a concerto or overture, and prefer the gallantry compositions, galanterie compositiones, so typical composition of two French modern fashion words. So they prefer this galanterie compositiones against all their merits to those artfully and difficultly set pieces, künstlich und schwer gesetzte Stücke. And these künstliche Stücke demand from us the greatest effort in learning them. But no accounting for taste. Doch einem jeden nach seinem Geschmack. Or nach seinem Geschmack, she writes with a Saxon dialect. A translation of the phrase, à chacun son goût. As soon as the musical pieces are copied, I will return them to you in proper form with due thanks. Meanwhile, I remain, my lord, yours faithfully friend. So the Notenbüchlein provides a rare glimpse into this kind of galanterie which Ziegler describes. The popular choices, because it contains polonaises, minuets, funny songs such as the one comparing the smoking of a tobacco pipe with the vanity of life, hymns, and even opera arias by otherwise rightly forgotten fashionable contemporaries of Bach. It is really a personal collection, one that made to drive out the melancholic spirits by providing the pop chart of entertainment by with spiritual, satirical, and unashamedly sentimental pieces. But among these are also compositions by Johann Sebastian Bach. And the first piece that we are going to hear from Mariana is an aria that was composed actually in 1727, so 2 years after this book was started, and which is copied out twice. If those just looking at it, going round, will see it's copied at the beginning of the book, once in Bach's neat handwriting, and then there are just the first 3.5 bars of the bass line in a very clumsy hand, probably one of the children's, rubbed out, and then he had to write it all out again at the end of the booklet, and then wrote also out the bass himself. So that gives you also an insight into how composition, copying, teaching went hand in hand in this time. So this first piece that we are going to hear, Schlummert ein, ihr matten Augen, started live as a meditation of the song on the song of Simeon, which is incidentally also included on the first CD of the Oxford Bach Soloists, and is set to the text by a 21-year-old mathematics student at the University of Leipzig, who was part of the same pietist circles as Bach, but probably would also have encountered Christiana Mariana von Ziegler. So it's all a kind of intellectual hodgepodge here. But in this Notenbüchlein, the aria is taken out of its liturgical context and becomes a lullaby. This Schlummert ein can be just read as something that would put one of the many children of Bach to peace when sung by the mother. The third piece that we are hearing brings out more of the religious side of the meditation by calling to think about death, gedenke, dass du sterben musst. But the second piece, set between the two notations of Schlummert ein in an unidentified hand and entitled Aria di Giovanni, is a simple, charming love song to a text that was circulating throughout the German-speaking lands, certainly a prime example of a galanterie composition. We are lucky in this concert to be able to compare and contrast both the künstlich und schwer gesetzte Stücke, of which the Toccatas and the Gamba Sonata you just heard are certainly a prime example, but also of the charming entertainment of the Galanterie composition of the Notenbüchlein. The jury is out for the friendly competition. Over to you as audience as to what you prefer, and over to Mariana for making the case for Galanterie. À chacun son goût. Thank you.